Thanks for clicking on the video. Just to let you know, my allergies were very active on the day of recording, so you are going to hear quite a bit of sniffling. I did not realize how much I was doing it, nor how loud it was when it was being picked up by the microphone, so please bear with me. Thank you.
That all men have inalienable rights to think freely, to talk freely, to write freely their own opinions, and to counter or utter or write upon the opinions of others.
This is from the Creed of the Church of Scientology. Hey everybody, I'm Holly, aka the ScientoloGeek, and welcome back to another episode of Going On Course. I am once again joined by my good friend and coworker Caleb.
Hello, I'm excited, as always.
I just gave him today Hubbard's book. What is it, like psychopolitics? And it was about like
Brainwashing is the first thing, and I'm like, what is this going to be about? Dear God.
Yeah, brainwashing, like a synthesis on the psychopolitics of like the communism or whatever.
Yeah.
But gave that to him. He was very confused, but I'm hoping that he sees why people think it's that Hubbard wrote it.
Yeah, it smells of Hubbard.
All right, so today Caleb has picked out the cause of suppression, so we are going to be shattering suppression, either that or we're going to get declared.
All right,
to be honest, I'd rather get declared.
We're going to shatter our own suppression. After this, we're not going to be suppressive anymore.
We're not. This channel's just going to shut down.
It's good to delete it.
So, all right.
On this course, you will learn why someone who is doing well in life can suddenly do poorly or begin to fail. We'll learn 12 identifying characteristics that will help you choose your friends and associates wisely. Tools you can use to help relieve another's burden of suppression so they can live well and be happy again.
Oh, it's a burden. Okay.
I guess it is. Yeah,
I like how they're trying to say being suppressive is a burden, but have you paid attention to what you have to go through if you're into Scientology? All the fucking burdens you like put onto yourself,
especially like, financial.
I know. Are they projecting right now?
They could be. I don't quite know yet, but we will find out. So this is the antisocial personality.
Anti means against or opposite something. Social means having to do with the health and happiness of people. It also means friendly or getting along well with others.
Caleb, quick thing. Before we even get to this, can you please look up antisocial for me and give me the definition?
Yeah, you want like a psychiatric definition?
Yeah, like the legit definition.
Yeah. I've looked into this, so I have opinions already. It said the Oxford Dictionary says, contrary to the laws and customs of society, devoid or antagonistic to sociable instincts or practices. Another one is not sociable, not wanting the company of others. That the number two one, psychiatrically, number two is false. Like it's not accurate for like the psychiatric diagnosis of antisocial behavior. But I think the first definition is better, where you are just going out of your way to like just be antagonistic and aggressive towards people, and you're just not friendly. So I think their definition on this course is not too far off, but it still is crazy to say that people who are critical of Scientology are just out there to harm people.
Becker, go lay on your bed. All right. So I will continue.
Antisocial describes behavior that is generally harmful to the health and happiness of people. Personality has to do with the qualities of a person's behavior as shown by his actions and his thoughts. An antisocial personality, then, is a person who is against any individual, activity, or group that works to help others improve.
I don't think so.
Oh, man.
This is throwing it all together. He fucked it up.
Yeah, it's crazy that they're trying to just diagnose these people with like having some kind of disorder of like hating other people just because you're being critical.
Right.
That's just an insane thing to do.
There are certain characteristics, good or bad qualities that someone is recognized by, that cause about 20% of the planet to be very much against any activity or group that works to help people, make them better, happier, or more able.
20%. That's 1 in 5.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure for ASPD it's like less than 1% or close to 1%. But yeah, that's crazy. 20% is way too high.
Which characteristics? That's the question, but I guess we're gonna find out.
How would humanity even function if 1 out of every 5 people just don't wanna be part of a group? That doesn't make sense. Like, what the heck?
I don't know.
There's way too many groups in general that benefit people within the group. Even if you are very antisocial, like, there are groups out there that would help you. Like, everyone benefits from being in a group, and that like, you have to be like, I don't know, you have to be, like, pretty I don't even know, like, pretty far gone to, like, think that no one's gonna help you. I feel like you would have more, like, depression if you thought that no group is gonna help you.
Yeah,
But I wonder if he's just describing, like, people who are just destructive and just hate groups of people getting along.
I think that's what he's doing.
Yikes.
Such people are known to have antisocial tendencies. A tendency is the way someone behaves as a result of his thinking. For example, an antisocial personality has a tendency to always find fault in another person.
Oh yeah, critic.
Crime and criminal acts, stealing, harming others, that one, and that one,
Oh my
because
God.
YouTube,
Yeah.
are committed by antisocial personalities. People who are insane and in mental institutions commonly find that they ended up that way because they were in contact with such
Alright.
personalities.
Not that they were crazy themselves, they were in contact with antisocial people.
Okay. I thought they were trying to say that the antisocial people are the ones going to mental institutions. Because that, like, it's not when people do things that are wrong, it isn't always because like they're insane. Sometimes like they can actually like, choose like what
Choose
they do or
evil.
not. So yeah, it's kind of like they're trying to say suppressive people just can't help but just be mean all the time.
As they make up only 20% of the population, and as only 2.5% of this 20% are truly dangerous, we see that with a very small amount of work, we could do a great deal to better the conditions in our world.
How do you feel about those percentages? Because I feel like that's a little more reasonable.
80-20. Look at that.
Now, that's the thing. Here it shows 20% are throwing Molotovs and lighting bombs. But
Mhm.
up here it says only 2.5% of the 20%
Yeah.
are dangerous.
I thought that's what it was getting at first. It didn't even follow its own like wording of how they were describing it. So it should be 2% of those two people, but that wouldn't work because you would need a much larger group. Maybe they didn't want to draw that many people. I don't know what their problem is.
Yeah.
When we look for the cause of a business that is failing, we discover that somewhere on its staff, the antisocial personality is hard at
Oh my
work.
God.
I remember there's always a third party.
There's always a third party.
You can't just be like our business just isn't doing well because no one cares about it. Like, why is it always a person just I wonder if it's just Hubbard, like, oh, the reason why Scientology is doing as well as I want it to, because there's someone in here that's just like suppressing us, and we need to find them and get rid of
I
them.
was literally about to say that.
Yeah.
Yes, this is why Scientology believes that they're failing is because of interior problems.
Wow.
In families that are breaking up, we commonly find that antisocial personalities are involved. Where a person's life has become rough and he's failing, a careful review will find one or more such personalities at work. For example, take a restaurant that's failing and going out of business. It's not making enough money, yet it seems to be attracting a lot of customers.
That's usually not what happens. If a restaurant's going out of business, they're likely not getting a lot of customers.
Yeah. I'm trying to understand the logic of they have a lot of customers, but they're not making enough money. Maybe you need to increase prices. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like if
profit
people like it.
margins.
So yeah, that's a profit margin saying like you could just be a very unwise entrepreneur that doesn't know how to maximize your profits. So yeah, this scenario doesn't require a third party. Like again, that's the whole issue with there's always a third party type of thing. Like there's always a conspiracy is insane because it just means you just won't fix the problems that you have.
We find that the person handling the money is an antisocial personality.
Oh
He's
my
been
God.
stealing money and putting it in his pocket. He's also been finding fault with the staff and making them feel like they cannot do their jobs. Or take a family that's living happily together until an uncle, who's an antisocial personality, comes to stay with them. He spreads bad news and finds fault with each of the family members every day. The whole family becomes upset, but doesn't realize why, and starts arguing with each other. The children decide to move out and stay by themselves. As there are 80% of us trying to get along and only 20% trying to prevent us from doing so,
You mean 2.5% of the 20%.
Right, right.
our lives would be much easier if we knew the exact manifestations of such a personality. Because if we did, we could see who the antisocial personality was and save ourselves from much failure and heartbreak.
Okay, I don't understand why it's like you need techniques to find the antisocial person, which in that example of the uncle who's just going around being a dick to everybody, I don't see how that would be hard to find. Like,
Right?
yes, there's a problem. If there's a problem person, obviously get them, try to remove yourself from that person. But like to always assume that everything goes bad because somebody is ruining it, like that's I feel like that's like a paranoid way of thinking. Like you're always just like, I can't trust anybody because any of you could be suppressive, any of
Hence
you could be
Hubbard.
antisocial. Hence Hubbard.
That's exactly how he feels.
It is important then to examine and list the characteristics of the antisocial personality. Characteristics are those things you can recognize about a person, such as what he does or says, and how he says them, and how he behaves towards you and toward other people. Because the antisocial personality causes so much harm in the daily lives of so many, it is necessary for decent people to become better informed on this subject and to be able to recognize an antisocial personality by his behavior.
I like how this doesn't leave room for like, sometimes people don't like you. You know what I
Right?
mean? Like, just calm down. Like, they're not antisocial. They're just, maybe you have a flaw that you just need to recognize in yourself. But
Okay,
no, I guess I don't know.
I'd like you to figure this out.
Where will you most likely find one or more antisocial personalities at work? A business that is failing? A family that is breaking up? Where a person's life has become rough and he is failing? Or a carnival?
This is, oh my god. I mean, I know it's the top 3, but dear god, what is why don't we okay, I like the multiple choice where you just pick the top one because this one is just weirding me out a little bit with this the random a carnival. I mean, I don't
Just throws
understand
like the
why.
most ridiculous thing in there just so you can be
Yeah.
like, that is obviously not an option.
What if like secretly there was some kind of like jab at carnivals because like there's always someone antisocial at a carnival.
Who would he blame it on too? He'd
Oh
blame it
my
on the guy who
god.
like runs the tilt-a-whirl.
Yeah. You got to get that guy out of here.
The antisocial personality characteristics. The antisocial personality has the following characteristics. He speaks only in very broad generalities, statements that give no details. They say, everybody thinks, everyone knows, and similar statements are in continual use, particularly when spreading rumors.
Hubbard, I feel like you've literally done this in some of the policies that we've looked at.
Oh yeah, because he'll be like, well, I mean, one of the generalities that I hate that he does is like anytime it doesn't work, it's always because of squirreling or you're doing something out tech.
hmm
It's like it's never like anything super specific. It's just always like you're just not doing it right. You're just not doing it right.
Yeah,
Like why not get more into detail about how to do it correctly? He's more like just read what I put down, you idiot. Like it's basically just how he thinks how to fix
yeah.
that problem.
For example, the antisocial personality can spread a rumor such as, nobody likes to go to that restaurant, everybody hates it. When asked, who is everybody? He pretends that it is the opinion of the whole society. It normally turns out to be that only one person said it, and that one person is the antisocial personality himself.
I mean, you can easily debunk that one with like Yelp.
Yeah, but there's also like there are people like you're not allowed to use an exaggeration. Like for example, I can say nobody actually like thinks positively of McDonald's, right? And it's like, well, there are obviously some people, but I'm exaggerating because so many people recognize that McDonald's is not a healthy place to eat at. So like I'm not being overly critical of every person who goes to McDonald's, but I can still use an exaggeration of basically like almost everybody understands that McDonald's is unhealthy and you probably shouldn't eat there very often. But I'm not being like antisocial. I'm just making a point.
You're not using a complete, all-encompassing generality. You're
Yeah.
mainly saying most people.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is natural to the antisocial personality, since to him, all society is a large hostile generality, stacked against the antisocial personality in particular.
Well,
That sounds like a paranoia disorder.
I Hubbard, this sounds like you. It sounds like you think that all of society is hostile and is against you. Like you are saying 20 like 1 in 5 people are against you. Like that's a lot of society that supposedly is against you.
I love how we're still on section 1,
Oh yeah,
and
that's
this
great.
is already Hubbard.
Yeah.
2. Such a person deals mainly in bad news, critical or hostile remarks, invalidation, making someone seem wrong or less worthy, and general suppression, actions that keep others down, make them fail, etc. There is no good news or compliment passed along by such a person. For example, say a young girl was learning to play the piano. The antisocial personality would be likely to make comments about how the girl was making errors and playing too many wrong notes, being critical, and saying the piano was an instrument he hated, a hostile remark, and then telling the girl that she did not have the basic talent and would never be able to play the piano properly, suppression.
What do you think of that point?
I don't even know. I mean, it sounds like anybody who's like, are they talking about like a little girl? Oh, yeah, a young
Yeah,
girl.
like a
Okay,
child.
yeah, I think he's trying to say, oh, they have an antisocial like personality going on, but this guy just sounds just like an asshole in general. Because the thing is, actually, suppressive people like are just critical in the way that they want the thing to be better, and that they think the thing that they're criticizing is worthy of criticism. But in his mind, if you're being critical, you're always doing it to be mean. You're always doing it unempathetically. You're never trying to reach an understanding. Like for him, there's like nothing in like intellectual about being critical. He's associating people who criticize Scientology to those who are just like making fun of little girls trying to play the piano. Like how is it in his head? These are like the same types of person. I don't know.
I'm kind of getting a sense of like narcissism to be like everybody's worse than me. I'm better than everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know why. That's just what I'm getting.
3. The antisocial personality worsens the communication when he passes along a message or news. Good news is stopped, and only bad news, often added to, is passed along. Such a person also pretends to pass along bad news, which is actually invented by him. 4. One of the saddest things about an antisocial personality is that he does not improve or get well as a result of treatment that he receives.
If you're
Oh,
if you're getting legitimate like medical treatment, yeah, you're gonna fucking improve.
yeah, that's actually crazy that they're like, oh, these people are helpless. Like we can't help them. Like, is he just assuming that like we just lock these people up or something like that? Like never help anybody that is just being mean all the time? And I don't know, because I think even the thing you said about the narcissism, it's almost like just because somebody goes to him and then criticizes him for what he's doing, he just says, "Oh, they're not doing it because of me. They just do it to everybody. So it's not that I'm doing anything wrong. They just do this all the time."
And he's
So
also
he's like deflecting any blame or deflecting any criticism of his by doing this.
you're forgetting one of the biggest points. He's off policy, out
Hmm.
tech. He's not doing it the way I
Yeah,
said to do it. He's
yeah,
messing something up.
yeah.
Number 4, that he doesn't improve or get well, is the treatment that you're referring to Dianetics?
Yeah, because if Dynamics is so powerful and so amazing, then like wouldn't it help somebody with an antisocial personality? Or is he saying that like just all the suppressive people that claim Dianetics doesn't work, it's not Dianetics' fault. It's the antisocial personality person. That's
I
their
think
fault.
that's what he's saying. And a lot of
Yeah.
they have a rule in Scientology: people who don't make case gain are either PTS or SPs.
Oh wow. Because I would disagree when it comes to like regular therapy. Like if you go to actual therapy, the therapist or like a licensed like psychiatrist, I think you could go into it quite skeptical of like I don't think this is going to work for me, but I guess I'll go anyway.
Yeah.
I think I've met people like that. They said I was wrong about therapy. I was wrong about psychiatry. It is helping me. I was going there, like some people I've talked to. They said they just went there just to talk to somebody, but then not realizing that there was a lot behind psychiatry and it actually helped them a ton. But
Yeah.
Hubbard is saying you can't say the same about Dianetics, so this is like kind of horrible for like in defense of anything Scientology related.
I should clarify that PTS and SP is not the only reason a person may not receive case gain. It could be a number of factors according to Hubbard. So it could be like problems in auditing and stuff like that, like problems with the with the auditor and the processes that need to be run. Could be that they went quickie.
Mm.
But yeah, it's not just PTSSP, but that is one of the possibilities.
5. Surrounding such a personality, we find frightened or ill family members or friends who, when not actually made to become insane, are failing.
What?
When I gotta reread that, we find frightened or ill members or friends who, when not actually made to become insane, are failing.
So because of the antisocial personality, other people fail.
Oh, okay, okay. So I guess that's what he's blaming his own failures on, or the failures of Scientology. Is just that they're just people with antisocial personality just surrounding us constantly.
Yeah.
Such people who have been frightened or made ill by the antisocial personality make trouble for others.
So now the antisocial personality is making trouble, and the people who have been frightened or made ill by the antisocial personality are making trouble.
And
It's a
when
chain
they
of making trouble.
when they say ill, do they mean mentally ill or they mean like physically, like biologically ill?
Be nice if they specified.
Because once again I'm scared of his relationship between like words and actual medicine. Like because they obviously do believe that like how like using certain words can help somebody like physically get better with like an injury or like an actual sickness. So when they say made ill by someone who's antisocial, I'm worried by thinking that like, oh, I'm sick because someone is mean to me or something. I don't even know, but that kind of thinking is just kind of weird to me.
Well, that's the thing. In Scientology, they say if you are sick or if you're sick, yeah, let's say for example you're sick, you get a cold or whatever. Granted, they say they believe in the germ theory of disease, but if you have the flu, then they don't like to report that because that means they consider themselves PTS if they get sick.
Oh, I'm actually forgetting the emotional tone scale, that one graph we saw about possible physical ailments that could result from being on the tone
The
scale
Hubbard
too
chart of
much.
human evaluation.
Right, because I remember thinking that people who were like sad or angry had like arthritis or something like that, or I don't
Yeah.
remember what it was, but it was
Yep.
like, oh, I was like, remember reading that, like, there's no way they actually think this. This is insane.
When treated or educated, people connected to the antisocial personality do not get better and stay that way, nor do they feel good for a while and remain feeling good. They soon start to feel ill again or get unhappy, being under the influence of the antisocial personality.
They
These people.
sound like a Dungeons and Dragons like enemy or something like that. That like you're gonna lose all your Constitution checks when you're just in the AOE effect of an antisocial
He
like
does poison
personality.
damage.
Exactly. They're making it seem like they're like some kind of like comic book villain that could just has this aura of just destruction. Like they're giving antisocial personality people just way too much credit. Like this is insane.
Yeah.
These people also do not commonly recover in the expected time from physical illnesses, even with treatment. Instead, they get worse and have poor recoveries.
Where is your data?
I also don't like that because it assumes people with chronic issues, like so like kind of like lifelong like illness or disease that is like they're working on a cure. Is it in his mind to like use some kind of like backward logic that oh that it's possible because they're just an antisocial person. Like that's why they'll never get better. Like I don't like the idea of this of like where you could apply this just to be super mean to people who have been physically ill for a long period of time and haven't been able to recover to no fault of their own. It's not their fault. Like it's just
Right?
things out of their control. But this is almost insinuating that it's possible that these people are antisocial destructive people and that's why they don't get better. This is horrible thinking.
The largest number of insane people become insane because of such antisocial connections, and they do not easily recover for the same reason.
I also like to know the definition of insane by them.
That'd be cool. You might have to check your technical dictionary for that.
Number 6, the antisocial personality continually selects the wrong target, the wrong cause of things, for his anger. If his car's tires flat from driving over a nail, he curses a person traveling with him, the wrong source of the trouble. If the radio next door is too loud, he kicks his cat. If A is the obvious cause, the antisocial personality blames B or C or D.
Okay, I also don't like. Okay, this is, I have so many problems with this. If you're antisocial and you don't like other people, it doesn't automatically assume that you have zero critical thinking skills and that you just can't figure out problems now.
Right?
Like, yes, you can be a complete douchebag. You could be a straight sociopath, but still be very logical when it comes to figuring out and like problems and problem solving.
Yeah.
So like, not only do they hate people, but they're also incredibly stupid and cannot figure out the most basic like cause and effect of I ran over a nail, therefore my tire is flat. You know what I mean? Like they can't. They're just too stupid. They can't even figure that out.
Like, I could understand a person getting angry from having his tire go flat and then yelling at a person with him, like as just a way to vent his anger.
Exactly. Yeah.
But not because he thinks that that person's the cause. Like,
Yeah.
who in your life do you know that would actually be this dumb?
That person would have to be delusional, I think, actually delusional, like by thinking that, oh, you put the nails there, or you made me drive there, or whatever. Like you would have to be pretty paranoid to think that.
7, the antisocial personality cannot finish a project or action. He becomes surrounded with incomplete projects and things that were started and never finished.
I know I'm interrupting a lot, but
That's okay. I'm okay with this.
I like the idea where he is just going ham on people who criticize Scientology basically by just saying they can't do anything right. They can't figure out their problems. They can't finish projects. This just seems unrelated. Like,
It
just
is.
because you are antisocial does not mean anything about your productivity. So now he's just saying these people are good for nothing. They can't get better. They can't finish projects. They can't problem solve. He's just going. What's next? He's gonna say, oh, they're also have no brains and they eat gravel. Like, what is he gonna say next?
All right, well, we shall see.
Number 8, many antisocial personalities will very easily confess to the most alarming crimes, but they will have no sense of responsibility for them. Their actions have little or nothing to do with their own choices or decisions. Things just happened. They have no sense of actually having caused something and so cannot feel any shame or guilt when they have done something wrong.
Isn't that called a psychopath?
Yeah, like sociopathy or psychopathy. Yeah.
For example, the antisocial personality carelessly throws something heavy out of a window in a building and really hurts someone standing outside. He would not feel that he'd done anything wrong. He'd just blame the person for walking past the window when he threw something out of it.
Okay.
Number 9, the antisocial personality supports only destructive groups and attacks any constructive group or group working to help people.
I swear before they were saying before that they don't like groups in general, but now they're saying, well, except for destructive groups. It's I like isn't that am I right? Did they not say before that they just don't like groups in general?
They said,
I don't know if it was on this page or not.
yeah, it might have been the page before. We'll check that We'll check
Yeah,
that right now. Just
you
give
got
me
to
one
check.
second.
Yeah, it's all right to check. I actually need to know this.
Course overview. Antisocial personality is a person who
Yep.
is against any individual activity or group that works to help others improve. They're okay with ones that
All
don't.
right. I just definitely just needed to clarify that one. He's also now associating suppressive people with like people who are, involved in organized crime now.
Yeah.
Like this rabbit hole just goes super far.
Number 10, this type of personality approves only of destructive actions and fights against constructive or helpful actions or activities. The artist, in particular, is often attacked and suppressed by antisocial personalities who see in his art something that must be destroyed and, as a friend, try to do so behind his back.
What? They just try to destroy his art?
Wait, it's underlined. Let's
What
look
is
at
the
the art.
definition of art?
A branch of learning concerned with human thought and relations, as distinguished from a science, especially literature, philosophy, history, etc.
It doesn't always have to do with human thought and relations.
Yeah, I don't understand what they're trying to say.
Unless he's referring to that the human has to think in order to make art, in which case that is the broadest, vaguest way you could add that in.
Yeah.
Number 11, helping others is an activity that drives the antisocial personality nearly insane. Activities that destroy in the name of help, however, are closely supported.
You've said this like 3 times.
So wait, helping others is an activity that drives the antisocial personality nearly insane. Wow. So it's this that now that he's saying it's because Scientology helps people is why they don't like it and it's working and they don't like
Yes.
that it's working.
Yes.
I'm understanding now.
This is partially where like their whole like big pharma, big psych comes in.
12, the antisocial personality has a bad sense of who owns property and thinks the idea that anyone owns anything is a lie made up to fool people. To him, nothing is ever really owned.
So you mean communism?
Communism. It all loops back to the beginning.
Jesus
oh my
fucking
God.
Christ.
So if you believe that we should abolish private property, you are antisocial and you want to destroy everything.
Despite the fact that it has nothing to do with social.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see if we can do these quick. Spreads generalities, deals in bad news or being a dick, worsens communications, invents bad news, doesn't improve or get well, causes other people to fail, can't figure out anything, can't finish a project.
They're the procrastinators, apparently.
Antisocial personalities are psychopaths. They support destructive groups and attack constructive groups. And they're communists.
I love that this tie that neatly in a bow. Communists are not trying to help anybody. They're just trying to hurt everybody.
God. This is even dumber than I was expecting.
Yeah, I know.
You know what? I'm just gonna hit true without even reading the fucking question.
Yeah, we know by now. Wow.
An antisocial personality deals mainly in which of the following?
Caleb.
Bad news, critical or hostile remarks, to skip one, invalidation, general suppression.
Good job.
Wow, they're just bad.
What is an anti-social person? I was about to say anti-Scientologist.
Oh, whoops.
What do I do when asked to pass along a message to someone else?
What would Holly do? I think I know. You wouldn't relay the message at all. Oh man. Look at all the other ones.
Such a person loves communicating and does so every day to everyone he meets. Such a person gives a perfect and accurate retelling of the message. If only we could have perfect and accuracy. Oh wait,
mm,
we can. Get Dianetics.
mm.
True.
What happens after the antisocial personality starts a project?
He finishes the project.
Oh my god. No one ever mean has ever finished a project ever.
What
Look at
the
history.
fuck? True.
Which of the following characteristics describe the antisocial personality?
Whoa, takes care of anything he borrows and returns it in good condition. So if you're antisocial, you can never borrow anything because antisocial people don't understand consequences of breaking things that you borrow. Like what? This just sounds like just like a completely just insane person who just borrows things, breaks them in order for themselves to get in trouble. I don't get that.
It's a
Bad sense of his own communism. Oh my god.
Jesus Christ, this is dumb.
The basic reason. The basic reason the antisocial personality behaves as he does is that he has a hidden terror or very strong fear of others.
uh, I don't. I mean, for some people who are antisocial, but not the people that they're describing are basically he's describing sociopaths. It doesn't mean they're afraid of them. I think he would just to follow their own logic. An antisocial person just doesn't like others. I don't know if they have a strong fear of them.
I think if you have a
If
strong.
anything, it sounds like antisocial people are not afraid of fucking anything. They just
Hmm.
they just hurt everyone as much as they can because they don't care about consequences.
I feel like here Hubbard's mentioning like paranoid schizophrenics.
Hmm.
To the antisocial personality, every other person is an enemy to be secretly or openly destroyed.
Hubbard, you do that with your fair game policy.
Oh my god.
And Operation Snow White.
The antisocial personality is continuously thinking that to stay alive, he has to keep stopping other people or not let them learn and become clever and able to do things.
Where are you getting these quotes?
I know, right? I just realized they were quoting them. They don't have to quote them. They could have just said it without the quotations. Now it just seem yeah. Now it just generally seems like he talked to an antisocial person and he's like, I'm just gonna put their quotes in here.
He talked to like one.
Yeah.
Bet.
If anyone were to promise to make other people stronger or brighter or more clever, the antisocial personality would feel great personal danger.
What if they have nothing to do with the other person?
Yeah, I know, right? Like, how does someone like across the world or even I don't know. It just makes them seem like antisocial people are just illogical altogether. They don't ever make sense. Anyone who's ever critical of you is just they just like being critical. They don't care about anything.
Yeah, this is so fucking stupid.
They think that if they're in this much trouble with people around them who are weak or stupid, they'd be destroyed if anyone became stronger or brighter. Such a person has no trust in other people. He's actually very scared of people, but this is usually hidden.
So he's afraid of axes, aliens, guns, yelling people, and something.
In a hand.
In a
I think it's
hand. I couldn't even tell what the fuck that was.
Again, the one who is sounding very scared of people and is trying to hide it in plain sight is Hubbard. He's the one that just seems very scared of people and think people are out to get them.
When somebody like this goes insane, completely mad, he thinks that each person he meets is really a Martian or someone who works for the FBI.
Paranoid schizophrenic.
Yeah.
But most of the antisocial personalities show no visible signs of insanity. They appear quite sane. They're able to persuade you that they're not crazy.
Hubbard. Trying to convince you that he's not crazy.
Oh my god, yeah. Again, hiding in plain sight.
However, the list given earlier is made up of things which such a personality cannot see in himself. This is so true that if you thought you displayed one of the characteristics in the list, you most certainly are not an antisocial personality. The ability to look at yourself and make a judgment that you've done something wrong is something the antisocial personality cannot do.
So the antisocial personality has literally no moral compass.
Yeah, wow.
They must be right because they believe they're in continual danger. If you proved an antisocial personality to be wrong, you might even cause him to become severely ill. Only the sane person tries to correct his behavior.
Are they going to say that every suppressive person is a antisocial, has an antisocial personality?
I think so. I'm assuming.
Okay.
What is the antisocial personality? Why do they behave as they do?
I like the first one. I don't think that's what it is. Oh yeah, the hidden terror of others. I like how he's trying
True.
his hardest to like psychoanalyze these people who's clearly never talked to.
Clearly.
Relief. If you were to recognize and name those antisocial personalities you've known and stop communication with them, you might experience great relief.
Disconnection. That's that policy.
Mm-hmm.
And if society were to recognize this personality type as a sick person, as they now separate people with a disease that can be spread by physical contact, people would be much happier working together and financial problems would get better. Things are not likely to get much better as long as 20% of the population is permitted to have control or power over and cause injury to the lives of the remaining 80%.
Oh, I don't like this statement because are they just like, 20% of the population, they have control and power, so we just need to find them and just get rid of their power, any power that they might have. And again, who's going to do this witch hunt of this is the person with an antisocial personality? Apparently, they can
Hubbard.
seem extremely, yeah, of course he's going to be the judge, but like I don't like the idea of someone going around and saying, "Oh, you're one of those of the 20%, so we're just going to like not give you anything or not have, you can have no control or power over anything because you're just going to injure people."
The sad part is that the antisocial personalities will not permit themselves to be helped and would not respond to treatment if help were attempted. An understanding and ability to recognize such personalities could bring a major change in society and our lives.
Okay, if Scientology wants psychiatry gone, what are they going to do with all the suppressive people who should belong in an insane asylum? In insane asylum.
Yeah, because
If
at
you
least
won't touch them.
that is at least one thing that like you can never ever like deny from psychiatry as long as it's been around. There are some people who are like very unwell that no one can deal with.
Yes.
That do need special types of care while putting them in general population of like prison population would be very destructive.
Yeah.
Psychiatry has obviously wrongfully put in people in psych wards, but they've also, while putting so many people in the psych wards, there's definitely some people that did belong there. So again, Scientology is doing nothing of the sort. Obviously they would never get any clearance to do that. Like they would never be able to hold anybody against their will. But also, I just realized. Oh God! Don't tell me, Jesus.
The introspection rundown
Oh God.
later.
Also, I realized that it says the cause of suppression. So I think they're trying to say that if you are suppressive, this is the cause. I think this is what this whole thing is saying now.
Yeah, when you say I don't think Scientology would do this, I basically assume that I am going to negate you at every time you say that.
I was trying to say that they'll never get the power to do it, but I guess
They don't need the power to do it. They can just fucking do it because they feel like it.
And I'm sure plenty of people who have been held against their will from a Scientologist or any organization, I bet they would, justify the organization for doing it or something like that.
They'd be
'Cause
like,
they're so
I fucked
indoctrinated.
up, I deserved it.
Yeah. Dang. That's a scary thought.
That's how you can get things like the RPF, the former Sea Organization prison program.
Oh, wait, what? The former
Prison program.
So you can be in prison by Scientology.
When you're in the Sea Organization, when you are working 24/7, 365 for the church, this is only for those people. Back before it got canceled or stopped, you would go through something called the RPF if you fucked up bad enough. The Rehabilitation Project Force.
Oh, and people would accept this? Has no one ever
it is
claimed...
a voluntary program.
Okay. So as but nobody has ever claimed like kidnapping or being held against their will. No one's ever claimed that.
Not with the RPF. Not that I
Okay.
know of, because you have to sign a contract saying, I volunteer to be in
Oh,
this program. But the thing is,
okay.
if you don't join the program, they're just going to declare you suppressive and kick you out
Y-
anyway, so you have no fucking choice.
yeah, and if you're this far into getting into a Sea Org, I imagine you do not want to be kicked out really badly. So you're just gonna go along with it,
Yep.
and then I'm sure somewhere in the contract they can just write it off of, oh no, it's just a little timeout thing. It's like a little exercise we do. It's not really like imprisoning them or anything like that.
I think at one point, the Hole, which wasn't even the RPF, the Hole was this, what was it, like, double wide trailer or some shit, these rooms or whatever, at the International Management Base, where like 100+ executives were held to get out their overts and withholds, and they were kept there for a while. Basically, they were kept there against their will. This was not a voluntary program.
Oh wow.
Yeah, if you just look up the phrase "the Hole," you will see what I mean. How could a
Is
person? What? Sorry.
well, I was gonna say, like, was the whole like any like solitary confinement? Because I know that's what
No,
they call
no,
the
no, no.
whole in like prison.
This was everybody kind of grouped together in one
Mm,
building.
okay.
How can a person experience great relief from an association with an antisocial personality?
Stop communicating with them. Yes, that's that one. I don't see why you couldn't take an antisocial person to court if they're
Depends on what they
doing
did.
criminal. Yeah, they're doing criminal things. I don't see why you could do that.
The social personality characteristics.
Well, most. Oh wait, those. Oh, this is the social personality.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
The social personality is accurate and detailed in describing events. For example, he says things like Joe Jones said or the Star newspaper reported, and wherever possible, he says where the information came from, especially when talking about things that are important.
You can have that, but it doesn't mean your shit's reliable.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people who are in QAnon will quote
Hmm.
like militarytruth.info for their
Oh yeah,
information that
yeah.
like Hillary Clinton was arrested.
I remember because I've been involved with like political commentary for like a long time. I've been engrossed in it since like 2016. There
Mm.
was a period of time where just crazy people would just Google anything they wanted all the time and just find a source. I think that still happens, obviously, but I think it's less. I think for the most part, most people understand the difference between a good source and a bad source. Obviously, those the QAnon people do exist. I don't know if you've ever kept up with QAnon or not. I think they've disbanded. I think mostly because Trump is like openly pro-vax, even though he has been like he's like kind of critical of it or been skeptical of it. I remember him coming out and like saying, "Oh, I was vaccinated. I feel great. We have an awesome vaccines." And the
You
QAnon
think
people
that
who were
stopped them?
no, like no, I because they actually they came together because of Trump and for Trump
They
because they're like,
still
oh, Trump.
do.
Well, I mean, I was told that they kind of are not as strong as they used to be, but
Yes.
maybe I'm wrong.
They're not as strong, but they've ever since Q stopped posting,
Hmm.
they've like split off into their own splinter
Oh yeah,
groups.
yeah. I'm just talking about like the people under the name of QAnon. If they call themselves that, they just those people still exist, obviously, but they're just calling themselves other things and disband, which I prefer if they're not in one large group. I'd rather them be in like smaller, weaker groups.
Yeah, like
But
the idiots who think that JFK was gonna come back and JFK Jr. and shit, and so they went to the grassy knoll in Dallas, Texas, to
oh my
wait for
god,
JFK's return.
I
Yeah,
don't
because
know about
JFK's
this.
totally gonna go back to the place where he was shot.
Oh my god.
Um, if you want to learn more about QAnon, just look up the QAnon Anonymous podcast. They have
Okay.
been covering things for years, and they're awesome at what they do.
He may use a generality such as they or people, but he does not do this often when talking about something or giving an opinion about something that could cause worry. The social personality wants to pass on good news to others and is unwilling to pass on bad news. He may not even bother to pass on criticism when it doesn't matter. He's more interested in making another person feel liked or wanted than making him feel not liked by others. He tries to make people feel more confident and think better about others.
Wait, I'm so confused. So, are they saying a social personality is a good thing, or is it
Yes.
like okay? But that still sounds not good to me. Like, why would you only want to ever pass good news? That sounds like a problem. Like when bad, like if you avoid ever talking about anything bad ever, it seems to me that like you just have a hard time facing problems. Like I don't know. Like, I don't understand how saying that, like, he may not even bother to pass on criticism when it doesn't matter. Okay, I understand that. There are people who like only criticize when it does matter. So maybe there is a way to criticize, but only when it matters. But if you think Scientology is important, then I think you should. It does matter to criticize it. So I'm just confused what they're trying to say when it comes to social people when they don't want to criticize Scientology because they think it doesn't matter. I don't know.
I don't know either.
A social personality passes on communication without much change. If he does remove anything, he tries to remove just the things that could cause another person harm. He does not like to hurt people's feelings, so he sometimes makes errors in holding back bad news or orders that might do so. Treatments that are given to help the social personality, especially when they are when they are mild, work very well on him.
Why are mild treatments especially effective?
Hmm. Especially when they are mild. If
What?
someone has a major problem, why only use mild treatments? I don't understand.
I have no idea. I'm assuming he means Dianetics or auditing.
Or you don't even have to treat them like hard, like you don't have to give them like a heavy treatment because being a social personality helps you get better so much that you don't even all you need is a mild treatment, I guess.
While antisocial personalities sometimes promise to change and stop doing bad things, they do not. Only the social personality can change or improve easily. It's often enough to point out to a social personality that he's doing things that are not okay. Just by doing this, the social personality will completely change what he's doing for the better. Criminal laws and violent punishment are not needed to regulate or control social
What?
personalities.
What? Criminal laws and violent punishments are not needed to regulate social personalities. So a social personality person either do they not commit crimes or when they do they don't need punishment or they don't need the law applied to them. I
I
again, I
think
don't
he's saying
why am
they
I getting so confused by these recent like sentences?
because he fucking clears words like fool and doesn't clear this shit.
Mm.
That's the problem. It's you can clear one little word or something every now and then, but when it comes to the things that people are legitimately confused about, they don't explain shit.
All right, so what are you going to say about what this last sentence means? The criminal laws and punishments are not needed to regulate social personalities.
I think it has to do with the fact that social personalities do not commit
Okay,
crimes.
yeah.
Number 5, the friends and people who work with a social personality are usually healthy, happy, and feeling good about the future.
You can be healthy, you can be unhealthy, but still be happy.
Mm-hmm.
A truly social personality, aka
If you don't follow this, you're not truly social. This
Mm.
is the whole no true Scotsman fallacy.
Oh my! I'm so glad you said that because I was going to say Christians do the same thing. Like a
Mm-hmm.
true Christian wouldn't like associate with LGBTQ people, or a true Christian would never get angry or something like that. A true Christian, whatever, blah blah blah. They would know the Bible better, or they would take communion, like whatever crazy things they want to say.
a truly social personality quite often produces improvement in the health or finances of someone he's working and living with.
Mm,
Only if they know about health and finances.
yeah.
At the very least, he does not make his friends get ill or feel less confident, and he does not reduce their morale, their emotions of feeling good and willing to get on with whatever they were doing. When the social personality gets ill, he heals or recovers as expected, and he does get well when given treatment. 6, the social personality usually selects the correct targets that need to be fixed. He fixes the tire that is flat rather than attack the windscreen with a hammer.
Oh my god.
When handling machinery, he can therefore repair things and make them work.
Okay, so again, I don't like the possible backward logic that you could apply to say that, well, if you were truly social, you would have fixed this, or you would have got better. So if people are asking, why am I not getting better? I'm doing all the treatment. Well, they're saying, well, maybe because you're not social enough of a personality. I think your personality is a little too antisocial. I think that just has that's just, like obviously that's like irrelevant, but to Hubbard, it's like so important apparently.
Like I don't get the logic of how he connects any of these.
Yeah, because again, you could if they're basically saying antisocial people are like crazy sociopaths and psychopaths, how do they like psychopaths or sociopaths never get anything done? They never fix their problems. They can't fix a flat tire. Like what?
Projects or actions begun are usually completed by the social personality. The social personality feels bad about the things he's done wrong and doesn't find it easy to admit to them. He takes responsibility for his errors.
You would think a social personality would feel bad and would find it easy to admit.
It doesn't find it easy to admit them. Yeah, you exactly. If you were a good person who's social, you should be open to admit that when you do things wrong. So I wonder if that's Hubbard's way of justifying why he doesn't admit his own shortcomings or downfalls,
Maybe.
because therefore it's like, oh, I'm just so social that I don't even talk about anything negative, even when it has to do with myself.
Yeah, maybe. Holy shit. Never thought about that way. Then again, I didn't go through this course yet.
Look at that.
Number 9, the social personality supports groups that help others in protests or tries to stop destructive groups. 10, destructive actions are protested by the social personality. He assists constructive or helpful actions. 11, the social personality helps others and works to stop or prevent actions that harm other people. 12, the social personality believes that property belongs to someone. He does not approve of it being stolen or wrongly used and tries to prevent that from happening.
He is a capitalist.
Communism. Jesus Christ.
Oh man.
How does a social personality describe events?
Wait, hold on. Yeah, I guess he is accurate, right? I guess the one they want.
What does a social personality want to do with good news and bad news?
I don't. This doesn't make sense to me. I think they want the first one, but I don't understand how unwilling to pass on bad news is supposed to be a bad thing. I don't understand that.
If the social personality does remove anything from a message he's passing on, what type of information would he remove?
The ones that would harm people.
True.
Whatever it says.
How do the friends and people who work with a social personality usually feel?
They are healthy and happy.
What does the social personality do when he finds something that needs to be fixed?
He selects the correct targets. Because being social helps you with problem solving.
Somehow.
Even if it's a flat tire and you're alone in the car, being social helps you find that out. I don't understand.
How does the social personality interact with groups?
He supports groups that help others.
How does the social personality treat property that belongs to another person?
No, he's not a communist. We know that one. He
Okay.
believes that property belongs to someone. They are capitalist. They bought the land. They own it. Therefore, no one else should have it.
The basic reason social personality naturally works toward doing the most good. He's not troubled by imagined enemies, but he does recognize real enemies when they exist. The social personality wants to survive and wants others to survive, while the antisocial personality really and secretly wants others to fail. Basically, the social personality wants others to be happy and do well, while the antisocial personality is very clever in making others do very badly.
I like how it's like when the antisocial person thinks they have enemies, they're imagining them. But when the social person thinks they have enemies, that's true. They are their enemies.
The important point about the social personality is not really the success of the things he does, but his reasons for doing things. The social personality, when successful, is often attacked by the antisocial personality, and for this reason he may fail, but the social personality wants others to be successful too, while the antisocial personality only wants others to fail.
Okay, so we need to think of this situation right here with the garbage pickup. These are the social people. Would there ever be an antisocial person that goes around and just pops holes in your bags?
Yeah, it's like the idea that like there are people that exist out there that every time they see something good happening, they have to stop it. I don't think there's anyone like that. I really don't.
Same.
So I do think there are people that do intend to do harm and for their own benefit, but to just hurt others for no benefit of yourself whatsoever, that's just completely delusional. And to say that 20% of all people are like this, that's even more delusional.
Because if 20% of people were like that, the world would be fucking anarchy.
Oh yeah, you would. Yeah, but again, oh yeah, that's right, because Hubbard is kind of secretly for fascism. Like, remember we discovered that they're like, well, groups never know anything, only individuals get things done. So yeah.
Unless we can see the social personality and protect him, and see also the antisocial personality and prevent him from harming others, our society will go on suffering from insanity, criminality, and war, and man and civilization will not survive. Do not harm the social personality, and do not fail to make the antisocial personalities powerless in their efforts to harm the rest of us. Just because a man rises above his fellows or takes an important job does not make him an antisocial personality.
No one ever said that it did.
Yeah, yeah, he's definitely talking about himself. It's like, I rose to power, but like, it's not because I'm antisocial. It's actually because I'm the one that needs to be in power, just for my own reasons. And the sentence before, like the paragraph before that, where it was like, "Do not harm the social personality," and then it says, "And do not fail to make the antisocial personalities powerless." I thought they were going to say, "Don't harm the social personality, but do harm the antisocial personality people."
Same.
So we should go around on witch hunts, finding the 20% and just getting rid of them and harming them. They are almost saying that. They're so close to saying that right now.
Can you imagine what the Earth would be like without 20% of its people?
Yeah, I know. That is such a large number. Like,
We'd
that's
lose
insane.
entire countries.
Oh, God.
Likewise, just because a man can control or have authority over others does not make him an antisocial personality. It's his reasons in doing so and what happens as the result of his actions which separate the antisocial personality from the social personality. Unless we realize and apply the true characteristics of the two types of personalities, we will continue to live in an uncertainty of who our enemies are, and in doing so treat our friends unfairly. All men have committed acts of violence or omission, neglect, for which they could be blamed. In all mankind, there is not one single perfect human being. But there are those who try to do right and those who specialize in wrong, and upon these facts and characteristics, you can know them.
So, can't an e-meter supposedly like find a suppressive person, or possibly
Can
find a
find
suppressive
your
person?
overts, your
Okay,
sins.
okay, because I almost wonder if this whole like almost witch hunt mentality of you could find the 20% and get rid of them, because they did state that antisocial people appear and they appear sane and they can convince others that they're not antisocial. So that would create paranoia in us, a Scientologist who is like, "Oh no, who among us is antisocial?
I
I
was
have
about
to
to
now."
say the world is among us.
Yeah, I know. Now we have to find them now, and you're just constantly just not, because they're saying antisocial people, they're the ones that are making up the enemies. But if you believe in this model of these personalities, then you're the one that's being paranoid and constantly looking for people.
If it's not really the things that a social personality does that are important, then what is it that is important?
His reasons, because apparently
Meanings
it's
of important words. Fuck
oh
me.
oh god, oh
A
god.
suppressive person, or SP, is another name for the antisocial personality. He is a person who works all the time to squash or hold down or suppress other people around him. A suppressive person will work to make another person less important by saying bad things about him. He will stop any effort to help anybody, and most importantly, he'll attack and try to squash or even destroy any person who he thinks might be or might become more powerful or more intelligent than he is.
This whole thing would come across to me as way less insane if they were just to acknowledge that constructive criticism is a thing that
Yeah,
exists. And I kind of feel like, to Hubbard, there is no such thing as constructive criticism. You're
no,
just being suppressive.
yeah, exactly.
The suppressive person's entire way of thinking is built upon the belief that he would be in trouble if anyone got better, as others could then overcome him and make him helpless. A potential trouble source, or PTS, is someone who's connected to an SP who is suppressing and making less of him, who he is, and what he does in his life. The person is a potential trouble source because he's being negatively affected by the SP. Potential means it is possible that something will happen. So a potential trouble source means a person who is very likely going to get upset and make trouble. And he really does make trouble. Suppress means to squash, to sit on, to make smaller, to refuse to let someone reach out and expand their view, to make someone uncertain about his reaching, and to make someone less by any means possible so as to harm the individual. This is all done to help protect the suppressive person. Suppression means a harmful intention or action against which you cannot fight back. When you can do anything about it, it is less suppressive. Suppression, in its simplest form, is taking away the person's confidence in himself. In the presence of suppression, you make mistakes. People making mistakes or doing stupid things is evidence that a suppressive person exists.
I love that, like, they take the person's confidence in himself. I think Hubbard is just talking about like, they hurt my feelings and I don't like it. That's just
God,
what I'm hearing.
right here, this is automatically saying people are automatically infallible
Yeah.
unless a suppressive person exists.
Yeah. So that, I think he's trying to what's possible that he's just trying to write off any time he's made a mistake as just being the fault of, again, a third party. It's always a third party.
I'm so glad we learned this already, because we would not be able to make this connection.
Yeah.
A suppressive person, or SP, is another.
True.
What happens when you're in the presence of suppression?
You just make a lot of noise.
You make mistakes. Why can't it be the other way around? Why can't it be that because you are making mistakes, someone is then being critical of you? Like, why is it? It's like, no, I'm only making mistakes because you keep criticizing me. Like that, I don't like how backwards that is.
PTS handling. To get results in handling a PTS person who is connected to an SP, there are two important facts that you must understand and know are true.
Which means they're probably not.
1. All illness, in greater or lesser degree, and all errors that result in a failure come directly and only from a PTS condition.
This is what I was telling you.
All
illness comes from being PTS.
Wow. And a greater or lesser degree. So there's like, they could say, well, I mean, it's some of it is caused by a suppressive person, but they're still saying all.
How does someone get past this course and still think rationally?
I think I like it when we get into the mentality of a person who, because that's how I was doing this at first when we started this. I was trying to get to the mentality of a person who is looking into this for answers. And I think once again, if they read this, they're going to be like, oh my God, now everything makes sense. And I'm just now going to apply this blindly because this gives you a nice, neat way of looking at the world that you don't have to accept any responsibility now. Because this gives you answers of, so that's why I mess up and I lack confidence, because the people in my life that are making fun of me for getting into Scientology, they're the ones that are causing me all my problems. So I need to cut these people out of my life and now get further into Scientology.
What happens when your car breaks down?
Oh,
are you PTS?
Oh my God.
Did you pull it in?
I don't like the idea of that you just manifesting like the universe to just, like almost like telekinesis. Like you just have all these bad vibes that just destroy the world all around you.
Number 2, getting rid of the condition requires 3 basic actions. A, understand the technology of the condition. Technology means the methods of application of an art or science, a way of doing something, as opposed to just knowing about the art or science itself. B, discover. Discover means to learn or find out something. C, handle or disconnect from the suppressive person. Handle means to deal with a problem so it's no longer a problem, and disconnect means to shut off contact and have no more communication with someone. If you're asked to handle someone who's PTS, you can do so very easily, far more easily than you might believe. Thinking that there is other technology or that the 2 rules above do not always apply is what can prevent you from handling someone who's PTS.
So by thinking that I'm wrong, or thinking that my black and white thinking doesn't include the gray, you're not doing it right. You need to have black and white thinking.
The moment a person who's trying to handle someone who is PTS gets persuaded that there are other conditions, reasons, or technology than those listed above, he is at once lost and will lose the game.
What game?
Oh,
I just lost the game. Fuck!
And not obtain or get results. It's not very often that a PTS person is psychotic. Psychotic means physically and mentally harmful to those around him, but all psychotics are PTS, if only to themselves, meaning they could be doing something destructive to themselves. Doctors and other health professionals are always talking about stress causing illness.
It literally can.
Yeah, psychosomatic illnesses, yeah.
Lacking the full technology,
aka doctors are wrong.
Oh God!
They do not have the slightest idea that this is why a person might get sick or have an accident.
This is so bad.
So
I guess this is I guess this is where they can kind of justify that like some like the medicine still exists, but the reason why medicine can't solve all the problems is because they're not fully implementing Dynetics yet. They're not. If they fully implemented our tech, then medicine could be whole again.
Yes.
Wow.
They just think this is somehow true. They recognize that stress can bring about various illnesses and accidents, but they do not have the technology of how to handle it. We do.
Oh my.
What is this thing called stress? A person under stress is actually under suppression. If that suppression is located and the person handles or disconnects from the source of the suppression, the stress goes away and the illness he is experiencing gets better.
Did you have
Um,
something to say?
yeah, I just am thinking about how uh, I do agree that psychological stress can cause you like physical issues, or it can even stop you from wanting to help yourself. But in order to understand how to address that stress, you have to understand the mechanisms at which these things are working, which Scientology has not done research on these mechanics. And
Nope.
actual medical doctors and researchers have actually done the research to understand how this mind gut connection or this psychological psychosomatic type of illnesses that happen, which again even psychiatry is involved in and have done research on, but Scientology absolutely has not done research on. All they have done is recognize the work that medicine and psychiatry has done, which is recognizing that stress and physical ailments may have a connection. But Scientology has done none of the work to try to bridge that and make some kind of actual like research or meaningful discoveries. They're just like, we know this, therefore now we can just tell you how to fix it and just trust us. It works. It works. It just works.
Gotta believe in the tech.
It's just true.
Usually, the person doesn't understand life well enough to recognize what is happening to him. He's confused. He believes all his illnesses are just part of life, that he's just ill because he's ill. But what really happened was that at some point, something happened to make him weak, unsure of himself, and unhappy, and that made him easily get sick. He was suppressed by someone and began to feel unhappy, weak, and even ill. Then, as he was suppressed again and again, the repeated suppression made him actually get sick or have an accident.
I'm gonna say this picture right here, roller coaster,
Hmm.
is an actual terminology in Scientology. So if you go into your technical dictionary and look up the term roller coaster, it is a person whose case gets better and then gets worse and then gets better and then gets worse.
Do like do they mean like the overall like happiness of the life of the person, or just that one specific problem that they're facing? Because I don't like the idea of people like shaming people for having issues as if like, oh, someone has made you weak. That's why you're ill. But it's not weak to have an illness. It's not
No,
weak to have issues. Everyone has their issues that they are working on, and then sometimes you're on top of them and sometimes you're not. But Scientology is saying almost like you should be ashamed because you're suppressive, or someone around you is suppressing you or being suppressive of
it's
Scientology.
it's basically saying there's a way to be perfect.
Yeah, and yeah, that's just insane.
If a person continues to be connected to or in communication with an SP or continues to do something that the suppressive person or suppressive group, and a group can also be suppressive, objects to, the suppression will never stop and he will continue to be ill or have accidents. It's not just that he's in a particular place that makes him ill and have accidents, it's the suppressive person who is causing it.
Third party law. Anyway,
Fortunately, the problem of PTS is not very complicated. Once you understand the two important facts given above, you must simply work out how to use them to help the PTS person. A PTS person can be greatly helped in three ways. 1. Understand and learn how to use the technology of handling someone who's PTS. 2. Discover who's suppressing the person and making him PTS. 3. Help the PTS person handle the problem or disconnect from the source of the suppression. Let's look at the easiest way to do this.
I guarantee you what you're about to say is not the easiest way to do this.
1. Give the person who's PTS the articles on potential trouble
Mm.
sources and suppressive persons in this course. Let him study them so he learns about the subject, such as what a PTS is, what a suppressive is, and how a person who's PTS handles the problem. The PTS person may just realize right then and there that he's been suppressed and feel much better. It has happened before.
I
Bet it
like
has.
yeah, give them homework. Start lecturing them on life. Like don't come up with actionable, like steps to be like, "Oh yeah, that person who is constantly putting you down, step up to them or don't listen to them." This is just saying they need to read this course. They need to read the potential trouble sources, and they need to hear you rant about your crazy Scientology stuff.
AKA disseminate Scientology to others.
Also, I don't know how I only just now made this connection between this and Christianity, but have you ever heard of the concept of being unevenly yoked in Christianity?
No.
But basically, it's most people's justifications for why Christians don't marry non-Christians, or they don't associate with people who are not Christian,
Mm-hmm.
because they're sinful people and that sin will then enter your life and you'll become sinful, or just being around the sinful non-Christian person is going to overall make your life worse because Satan is active in their life, and therefore you're kind of inviting Satan into your house if you invite a person who is unevenly yoked. Which, sadly to say, I've had this logic applied to me, even when I came out as atheist to people. They were my brother was like so like careful of, I don't know if I should associate with you anymore and blah blah blah. I did talk him out of it, obviously, but um, it still is an insidious and just horrible thought that like anybody who doesn't believe in your religion or like your crazy cult that you're part of, you need to just cut them out and don't talk to them.
Yeah.
Is just very very religious, and this is where the Scientology is showing its religion, is showing its cultiness right now very hard.
2. Without pushing too hard, have the PTS person discuss the illness, accident, or whatever he's having trouble with. For example, take the young girl who was learning to play the piano but was being suppressed by someone. She may say she's just started to feel like she would never make it as a pianist and wanted to give up trying, so she stopped practicing. The person will usually believe that the illness, accident, or trouble began recently and that it is the result of the area where he lives or works or somewhere he has been recently. For example, the PTS girl who is having trouble playing the piano may say that the place where she has to practice is too hot or too cold or too uncomfortable in some way. 3. Ask when the PTS person remembers first having that illness or having such accidents. He will at once begin to think back and realize that it has happened before. 4. Now ask him who it was that was suppressing him at the time. He will usually tell you right away.
Oh my god, I don't. It's like at this point you're just going to find someone, and I don't imagine being that person who was just blindly just like blamed for being the suppressive person. It's like there has to be someone suppressive if you're having an issue.
And the person's
And
just like, what the fuck did I do?
yeah, it's like, I don't know, I said that your piano wasn't that good. I thought you should practice more. And yeah, but that made me not confident in myself anymore. And you're just suppressing me. Like, no, I was just telling you how I thought. And this person who had just read this course is now going to be like, yeah, you're the suppressive person. I'm going to
Constructive
cut you out.
criticism is the problem.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm just going to cut you out now instead of listening to the fact that you were just criticizing how I was playing. Because no, that goes, that person who's criticizing you doesn't care if you get better at all.
You will also usually find that he has named a person he is still connected to or in communication with, so then you ask him if he wants to handle or disconnect from the suppressive person. Now he'll cause a lot of upset and trouble in his life if he dramatically disconnects, dramatically meaning to do something in a way that can cause upsets or make people shocked, excited, etc., so the PTS person has to work out how to handle the matter smoothly. If he can't see how he can do that, you can work with him to begin to handle the matter smoothly and gently bit by bit. This may be done by telling him to actually answer his mail, or to write to the SP and send him a pleasant "Good roads, good weather" letter. Good roads, good weather means a communication that is calm, warm, and friendly. It usually talks about things that are good and that others will agree with, such as how nice it was to have some rain after weeks and weeks of dry weather, or writing about how the football match last weekend was very exciting. All you are trying to do is have the person who's PTS start doing something to begin to very gently handle the matter.
Yeah, I think this is, people have probably definitely applied this getting into Scientology, where they, like that point specifically, they just start slowly drifting out of their family's life
Hmm.
who are critical of them joining Scientology. Because if they were to just, as they worded, dramatically leave, then the people could know why they left, therefore talk to them about, listen, like I know you're really into the Scientology thing, but like it really hurts us when you do that. But this is teaching you to like just secretly slip out and don't tell them what your problem is with them. Just like get away from them and just get more involved with Scientology.
Yeah.
6. After getting him started on this gentle handling, check with the person again and make sure he's doing what you and he agreed to. If he's doing the handling steps you both worked out together, encourage him to keep going, always using gentle, good roads, good weather communications. Here's one example of how someone who's PTS might gently handle a parent who's being suppressive to him rather than just disconnecting. The handling could be as simple as the PTS writing to his father and saying, "I do not complain that you are a janitor or cleaner, so please do not complain about my lifestyle. The important thing is that I am your son and that I love and respect you. I know you love me, but please learn to respect me as an adult who knows what he wants in life." Or he could say, "I'm writing to you, Daddy, because Mother keeps sending me these nasty newspaper clippings about my friends and people I work with, and they're upsetting to me because I know they are not true. You do not do this, and so it is easier for me to write to you." The important thing to realize about PTSness is that you can do something about it.
This is fucking dumb.
Yeah, it's kind of
True.
sad. Also, what's with the newspaper clippings about the friends? Like, are your friends making the news because they're doing it, like doing things
I guess.
and they're bad things that they're doing, and then therefore giving someone that news is supposed to be wrong for them to do? Okay, that's just this is confusing.
This is all just completely idiotic.
Handling or disconnecting. Perhaps the most fundamental right, a freedom that belongs to you by law, nature, or tradition, of any person is the right to communicate. Without this freedom, other rights become less. Communication, however, is a two-way flow. A two-way communication, or two-way comm, means that you communicate to someone. That is one flow or direction. A message goes from you to another person, and the person receiving the communication communicates back to you. That's the second flow. The other person sends the message back to you. If you have the right to communicate, then you must also have the right to not receive communication from another person. It's this right, the right to not communicate, that gives everyone their right to privacy. These rights are so basic that governments have included them in laws. One example is the American Bill of Rights, which tells people living in the United States what rights they have. However, groups have always regulated these rights in one way or another, because when you have the freedom to communicate, you also have certain agreements and responsibilities.
Scientology tries to regulate this right by saying that you have things you can and cannot talk about.
An example of this might be a business agreement. Let's say a farmer signs an agreement to supply a grocery store with 100 bags of potatoes. He's responsible for making sure he grows enough potatoes to supply the order. He's responsible for making sure the potatoes are ripe and cleaned, and he's responsible for delivering the potatoes to the warehouse. The buyer is then responsible for paying the farmer for the potatoes. If the farmer does not deliver the potatoes and breaks the agreement, or if he delivers 100 bags that are mostly rotten, the grocery store owner can refuse to ever buy from him again and may in fact disconnect from the farmer. Handle or disconnect. In PTS technology, you'll see the phrase handle or disconnect. It means simply that. The word handle most commonly means, when used in relation to PTS tech, to smooth out a relationship with another person of applying the tech of communication. The word disconnect means a person making the decision that he is not going to be connected to some other person. It's when you cut a communication line. A communication line, or a comm line, is the route or passage along which communication travels from one person to another, such as email or a cell phone. Communication lines can also include radio, television, or movies, films.
Why did you have to define the phrase movies? What the fuck?
I know that the stuff that they decide to clarify is always so inconvenient. It's never the stuff that I actually need clarifying, ever.
Someone who's PTS must either handle or disconnect from an SP or group. And the ways someone can disconnect from an SP follow the same forms of disconnection that are used by people all over the world in various parts of life. Take, for example, how a criminal's handled. If he'll not handle himself and stop doing destructive things like harming other people or stealing, the police and those responsible for making sure the laws are followed have to use the only other available solution. They disconnect the criminal from the society. In other words, they remove the guy from society and put him in a prison because he won't handle his problem and stop committing criminal acts against other people. It's the same sort of situation that a husband is faced with if he finds his wife is sleeping with another man. The very best solution to a problem like this would be to handle the matter with his wife and get her to stop breaking the agreements of their marriage, that they will be true to each other. But if the husband cannot handle the matter, he is left with no other choice but to disconnect, sever the marriage communication lines, even if this is only done by separating from the wife for a while. To do otherwise would be disastrous because he's connected to someone who's being antagonistic, showing irritation, anger, or opposition towards someone or something, toward the original agreements, decisions, and responsibilities of the marriage. A person can become PTS when he's connected to someone who's directly antagonistic towards him. To handle the PTS condition, the PTS person either handles the other person's antagonism, or as a last resort, when all attempts to handle have failed, he disconnects from that person. He's simply exercising his right to communicate or not communicate with the particular person. By applying the tech of handle or disconnect, the person is actually only doing the same thing that has been done within any society or group or marriage for thousands of years.
So why the fuck did you even mention it like it was something new that needed to be made in a course?
Yeah. Oh my god. I think they're trying to say that, like, oh, disconnecting people is normal. So, like, if you need to disconnect it from somebody who's, being suppressive about you liking Scientology, it's like you just need to handle them. You just need to disconnect from them. Don't listen to them. Don't listen to them and their criticisms. You just need to handle the situation or disconnect.
Handling antagonistic sources. In the great majority of cases, if a person has some family member or someone he works with who appears to be antagonistic towards him getting better, it is not usually a matter of the antagonistic source wanting the PTS to not get better. It's most commonly a lack of correct information about what the PTS person is doing that causes the problem or upset. In such a case, simply having the PTS disconnect would not help matters at all. It's quite common that the PTS person has just overlooked what he might have done to possibly bring about the problem.
Okay, so here it's the PTS person's fault, but here it's not the fact that the person doesn't want to get the PTS to get better. But a PTS is usually connected to an SP, and SPs don't want people to get better. So what the fuck?
Yeah, we're supposed to be blaming the SPs here. We're not supposed to be blaming the PTS. But it does.
God.
But the last sentence, yeah, that we just read was saying that. Wait, is it common? Wait, is it? Is it? Was that
Whoops.
the one?
Son of a bitch.
Oh God, what happened?
I keep hitting the scroll bar.
Oh yeah, it is quite common that the PTS has just overlooked what he might have done to possibly bring about the problem. But yeah, they're saying that's the common thing. But yeah, all we did was find like a weird contradiction. I don't think they even know what they're talking about anymore. I think they're losing track of what they're even trying to say at this
They
point.
lost track of what they were saying on page 1.
Yeah, and also this is one of the wordiest pages I've seen. They were over explaining and clarifying things that just don't need clarification and just going crazy. Like that's why I haven't interrupted you, because I just really just want to get past this part, because this is like it's just so wordy for some reason.
Next time you have an accident at work, I'm going to call you PTS.
Okay, good.
And we're going to figure out who the SP is in your life.
This isn't hard to understand when you look at these facts. To be PTS in the first place, the PTS must have done something wrong to the antagonistic source.
No, that's completely contradictory.
Yeah. So are they saying that the antagonistic source has perceived something has been done wrong to them, or that the PTS has handled the antagonistic source incorrectly? Because I think whatever I just said, I think both of the alternatives I gave would be a much better wording than the wording that they gave, because they're saying they must have done something wrong to like this is implying that when you do something wrong to somebody, them being antagonistic or suppressive is wrong for the source of the person for being antagonistic. So like just even this isolated doesn't make sense, and this being connected to everything else is also just contradicting what it said before. So whoever wrote this needs to have a fucking editor super hard.
B. When someone has done something wrong to another person, this lessens his ability to confront or look carefully at the problem, confront the other person, and confront what he has done. It also lessens his sense of responsibility for what he's done to harm the other person. When anyone using the information and applying the technology on this course to assist someone who's PTS to one or more of his family members, he does not recommend that the person disconnect from the antagonistic source. The advice that should be given to the PTS person is to handle. The handling is to educate the PTS person in the technology of PTSness and suppression. He then carefully and firmly guides the PTS through the steps needed to bring about good communication with the antagonistic source. When disconnection is used, if you have someone who's actually connected to an SP, such as someone who goes around saying and doing things that make other people around them feel smaller, less able, and less powerful, it's obvious that this suppressive person does not want anyone to get better at all. In truth, an SP is absolutely, completely terrified of anyone becoming more powerful. Therefore, the PTS isn't going to get anywhere when trying to handle this person. The answer is to cut the connection.
So you need to always cut the connection, because you are only PTS by being connected to an SP.
Have you heard of many stories of people like just cutting people out of their life because they're being critical of them getting into Scientology? Like,
Yes.
is this a common thing?
Yes.
Like, how common is it? Is it just like all the like? Imagine anybody in my family getting into Scientology. Obviously, I'm a little bit more equipped to talk about the concepts than the average person by now, I hope. But I can imagine the average person is going to be immediately like, "This is stupid. This is dumb. Why are you getting into this? Is this how do you know this stuff is true? Blah blah blah." And then the person from this course is now being trained. I guess the next part is how to disconnect, but they're now being trained to disconnect from these people.
This is fairly common.
This is so sad.
People have lost children, spouses, parents, siblings because they disconnected.
Yeah, and I also have people in my family who have disconnected from non-Christians or not wanting to associate with people who are non-Christian.
How to disconnect. How a disconnection is done depends on what is happening and who the people involved are. For example, let's say the PTS person lives next door to a psychiatric clinic
Whoa.
where insane people are being treated, or a prison where criminals have often escaped and he feels unsafe there. He's PTS due to the area where he's staying and what is happening there. The handling is simple. The person can move to another apartment in another location.
Who said it was an apartment? Who said they can afford another fucking house?
Oh yeah, it's also unless they justify it later on, are they saying that the psychiatric, clinic, it has some kind of weird magical aura that's going to like make your life worse? because you could disagree with it's fine, disagree with the psychiatric clinic that's across the way, but like, how is it affecting you unless you're going there? This is
Same.
confusing.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, what do the insane people have to do with you? Are they physically bothering you?
Or a prison. You're saying no one can live in the vicinity of a prison. Like, prisons just need to be, all of them need to be Alcatraz.
Where
They need
criminals have often escaped.
okay.
If
Unless
you
the
have a prison
criminals,
where criminals often escape, you got a
yeah.
shitty ass prison.
Yeah. The prison is the problem. Like, you need to like go to the local legislation and fix the problem. But they're just saying, just move away. Don't make change. Don't criticize about how this prison is handling things. You just need to leave the town where this prison is located.
You need not write any sort of disconnection letter to the psychiatric clinic or the prison.
He simply changes, so you have to write a disconnection letter.
No shit. You don't need to write anything to the psychiatric clinic because you have nothing to do with it unless you work there or something. You don't need to talk about the psychiatric clinic and the problems you have by living next to them. I would only imagine if I worked at some kind of psychiatric clinic and got a letter from a Scientologist saying, by the way, I'm moving from you now because you're suppressing me. I'm so yeah. Oh my god. That's so funny to me.
Cool, one less dick in the area.
Thank you.
It's like when a Karen says to a store manager,
Yeah,
I'm never
exactly.
coming back here again.
It's like, all right, good for you. You didn't need to tell me. So the idea that like you would be there are Scientologists that are like tempted to write disconnection letters to psychiatry clinics that they've never even walked in is insane.
He simply changes the place where he's living, which is, in effect, a disconnection from the suppressive area. Another example could be a business owner who discovers that someone working for him is an SP. The guy steals money, drives away customers, tries to get rid of other people working there, and will not correct his behavior, no matter what is done to make him stop. The handling is very simple. The PTS fires the suppressive person, and that's the end of it right there.
That's not the end of it. If a guy steals money, you can literally send him to prison.
Yeah, because okay, so we're suppressive people, right?
Okay.
According to them. Okay. And apparently I'm going to steal money and drive away customers from where we work, apparently. Like that's not my when I originally thought of a suppressive person, I'm just thinking of a person who is just they're just critical of Scientology or they're just critical of people and things in general. But now I'm being called a criminal. I don't understand the connection. This is not for me. This is not a suppressive person. This is a criminal. You're describing a person who's a criminal. I don't understand why SPs are criminals or inclined to be criminals or criminals are SPs. There are people who are criminals that don't give a shit about Scientology or give a shit about criticizing others. They're like, yeah, I know what I do is wrong. I'm going to keep stealing though. Like, is it like the fact that he's connected these two things? It doesn't sit right with me.
Summary. The technology of disconnection is very important in the handling of a PTS. It can and has saved a lot of people a lot of trouble. It's even saved lives, but it must be used correctly.
We have an asterisk. We have a disclaimer.
Nothing in this material shall ever or under any circumstances justify any violations of the laws of the land. Any such offense shall subject the offender to penalties described by law.
Let me just sit and just soak that in for a second.
Okay.
Dear God. Because I don't like how they had to put that because that for me implies that, you know, like how like the warning label is on there because someone's done it. Like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Like some Scientologists had to have been told that, you know, breaking the law is not okay when it comes to dealing with suppressive people, because someone read this at some point before the asterisk was there and somehow did something extremely stupid or illegal to someone that they believe was a suppressive person. That's so scary. This is terrifying.
I think this is the worst one we've seen yet.
Yeah, I remember the children one being like, this is harmful, but again, they're maybe their heart's in the right place. This just seems overly hateful. This just seems very negative.
Oh God, flourish and prosper. I think I read about this in the Data series.
There's a great deal going on and a great many very fine people working to create a better future for everyone. But much of that is in the future. So do you simply wait, or is there something you can do right now? There is. Decide to flourish and prosper, and then flourish and prosper. Flourish means to be active and get things done. It means you're able to have a good effect on people and things around you, and you're clearly doing well. Prosper means you do well at what you do. It also means you make a lot of money so you can pay all your bills and have money left over to buy the things you need and do the things you want to do. There is no more exact and powerful way to defeat an SP or an antagonistic person or a society in which you live that is suppressing its people than by flourishing and prospering.
So I don't like it says there is decide to flourish and prosper and then flourish and prosper. So if you're not flourishing and prospering, it's because you haven't decided to.
I guess
Like there
not that you're not actively trying and just not
all right.
working out, but
Okay.
like
That's still it reminds me of people who like the whole manifestation thing. I mean, it is like a positive. I do believe the power of positive thinking, but sometimes you actually do need to think critically and logically, and not just So sometimes a positive attitude isn't enough in certain situations. So I just needed to get that out because just the idea of just do it, just decide to do it, and then do it.
this is coming from Scientology. Basically,
Hmm.
this is Scientology. Scientology decided to flourish and prosper.
Mm.
They are not flourishing, nor are they prospering.
All a suppressive person or suppressive society is trying to do is prevent people from flourishing and prospering. Of course, you have to handle threats or attacks, but don't get stuck on them. Handle them, but put your main attention on doing things that will make you and the group you are part of flourish and prosper. You cannot simply vanish in life. You cannot just become nothingness, something that does not exist. And the wrong way to handle suppression is to make yourself smaller and do less and be less visible, hoping that you are then not noticed. That is simply being defeated by the SP or society. Instead, defeat attempts at suppression by flourishing and prospering. If, while reading this, it occurred to you that if you did flourish and prosper, the SP would simply attack harder and that you'd better be careful, then you should know that people who have thoughts like that are usually under a great deal of suppression, and they need to locate the suppression and either handle it or disconnect. If you have doubts or concerns about being able to flourish and prosper, you need to unsuppress, get rid of the suppression yourself. So there is the ultimate, best and final victory over any suppressive group or society. The ultimate weapon is to flourish and prosper, so do so.
Yeah, because we can just do that on command at
Yeah, no,
will.
yeah. As it was saying before,
Oh
yeah,
god, that falls into the whole fucking policy that I recently read on the data series that says we can cause stats at will.
oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's definitely how things work.
If you look up my video called Stat Superpowers,
Mhm.
you'll
Oh,
you'll find that one.
yeah, because they act like so many things are like magic. Like you just have this magical incantation, and then just things happen in the world. Also, I guess we know now. I know why I've never met a Scientologist because they're just not going to make themselves known to me, especially because I'm just immediately known as a person who's very critical of things in general. So as soon as they hear about me, they're just going to want to just turn tail and just not ever talk to me about Scientology.
If you were under suppression, what could you do right now to handle it?
Decide to flourish and prosper, and then flourish and prosper. Oh, I don't like the repetition because now that's going to stay in my head.
If while reading this, it occurred to you that if you did flourish and prosper, the SP would simply attack harder and that you'd better be careful, what should you know?
Um, I think the second one, even though that's not, is that the one they want? Because they do kind of say that sometimes. They are just saying suppressed people are just mean people. But yeah, handle it or disconnect is what you should do.
True. I haven't
Whatever.
even I don't bother reading those questions anymore. All right, we got exercises.
Oh
We got
boy.
6 of them.
Look at the people around you or get a newspaper and look it over. Find an example of antisocial behavior. Note which antisocial characteristic is being demonstrated by the person or writer of the article. Refer to the 12 characteristics of the antisocial personality listed in this course if you are at all uncertain. Repeat this drill as often as you need to so that you can very easily and swiftly spot an antisocial personality.
I like the idea of like labeling people that every time they do something that is symptomatic of like an antisocial personality, that you could just now label them as just having some kind of like illness or personality that like is not able to change.
You totally
Like
don't know anything about what's going on in their mind, but you could just call them antisocial.
exactly, that's insane. That like you just can't ever make a mistake, or and a Scientologist is going to put you as a label you as part of this 20% of the population.
Look around you at work or at home or anywhere you might be, day or night, and find an example of social behavior in another person. Note which social characteristic is being demonstrated by the person. Refer to the 12 characteristics of the social personality listed in this course if you are at all uncertain. Repeat this drill as often as you need to so that you can very easily and swiftly spot a social personality. Look over your own life and see if you are or have ever been in contact with someone who is an antisocial personality. Make a list of the antisocial characteristics that were demonstrated by the SP. Do this over and over again so you feel confident in your ability to recognize antisocial characteristics in people. Make a list of social characteristics in different people you have known or observed. Do this over and over again until you feel confident in your ability to recognize social characteristics in people.
Is it just me, or is the word social just like you just don't give a fuck about it anymore?
Are you saying that like it's been said so many times it's like
Yeah,
lost all its meaning?
yeah, it
Exactly.
has. It's
They
going in
have
one ear and out the other.
Yeah, they have beaten it into the ground. I think they should have used a term like pro-social or something like that. Like, because every time I think of social, I just think of people who just like to socialize and have a personality who is very social. But now I don't like this because I don't want Scientology to like wire my brain like it kind of almost has into thinking of their version of words or the correct way of using them.
If you know someone who's PTS and has all the signs of being connected to an SP, show him the articles in this course and get him to read them. Then do the steps of handling or disconnecting with him so he handles or disconnects from the suppressive person he's been in contact with.
Dear God.
Help a person ruin someone's life.
This is crazy. I almost wonder if I imagine a person who's like, "Here, look at these Scientology online courses," and the person says, "Oh, Scientology? You mean like that stupid cult?" Like, "Oh, you're suppressive. I have to disconnect from you now." This
The
is
PTS
crazy.
is an SP.
Oh no.
Make a list of things you could do to flourish or prosper. Start doing them.
Okay, that one. I'm so glad it ended on that because that's actually not a bad idea.
Right?
Actually, thinking about how to better your life is the only positive thing that has come out of this entire course. The idea of me having a cause of suppression certification
I'll fucking put that over here for now.
is perfect. Remember when I said I'm gonna pick one and put it on my wall? I think this one of all takes the cake. I disagree so much with this shit. That's perfect.
Yay! We've completed the cause of suppression!
Yeah, I think to Hubbard or any Scientologist, the idea of a suppressive person actually going through like Scientology courses probably just breaks their brain completely. Like, how could someone who is so critical and dislikes Scientology so much take all this time to just shit on it? It probably just makes them go insane.
So, why don't we figure out which one we're going to do next time first?
Hmm.
So, we got the components of understanding, solutions for a dangerous environment, integrity and honesty, marriage, answers to drugs, tools for the workplace, ethics and the conditions, investigations, basics of organizing, fundamentals of public relations, targets and goals, study tech. We'll do communication at a later point.
Yeah, keep going up. There was one I wanted to see. The ethics. Keep going up. Oh yeah. Someone like the improved answers to drugs sounds funny because they might talk about cool fun drugs.
I think it's going to talk about Hubbard's purification rundown.
Marriage sounds like a blast.
If it's anything like the third party law or children, where you just feed your wife barley water.
Yeah, I'm just anticipating something just vaguely homophobic is going to be in it or something.
Homophobic!
Yeah, because I don't know what
Not
if they're going to say.
surprised.
They're going to say something stupid like, "What you need in marriage is balance. That's why men and women get together." And you know what I mean? Like I feel like I don't know why. I just have a bad feeling they're just going to say something vaguely homophobic in it.
Alright, well, we're not done talking, but I am going to end off the recording here.
Yeah, I had to go soon anyway, but I can
So,
still hang out.
so just let me do my little outro. Alright, so I'm glad you guys sat with me through that entire length of bullshit. If you have, this has alcohol in it because this is the only way I can stomach Hubbard's nonsense is when I'm partially tipsy or drunk.
Yeah, I'm also a little high.
Caleb is also a little high. But no, Caleb, I really want to thank you for joining me on this series. I think that this series would be nothing without you.
Oh, thank you. And this is the most disappointed I've ever been in Scientology is this course.
Same.
Oh,
I
man.
think the only thing worse that I've seen so far is conflict resolution.
For me, the barley water still takes the cake. As
Oh,
something
the
that is-
children.
which has been medically recorded as doing damage to people. Like that, I like that. I like knowing that information now that Scientology has, we have actual data on how Scientology has really wrecked somebody physically, actually harmed somebody physically.
But if you like this video, click like. If you don't, click dislike. I don't really care. Comment with your feedback or questions, good, bad, or sideways, and subscribe to be kept up to date on future content. Hit the notification bell to make sure that my videos are getting to you. And share this with your friends and your family so you can show how crazy Scientology is, even with their beginner shit, which I thought would be common sense. No, it's fucking not. Anyway, I will talk to all of you later. Thank you again, Kaleb, for joining me today.
Yes, you're welcome. And goodbye, everybody.
Peace out.